Greetings and salutations, my dearest friends. My name is Samantha, and today I'm going to do a book haul, but I'm also going to take you book shopping with me. I recently went on vacation and visited a bunch of cool bookstores, so I'm going to show you them. How are you? Welcome or welcome back to my channel. It has been a minute since I filmed a book haul. Collector at heart, and I just love collecting pretty books. I just can't help myself. And then I kind of took a pause. If you've noticed, I haven't really done many book hauls, mainly because I just don't have enough room on my shelves. I have the two shelves behind me, fully packed, 3 rows deep, and then I have a shelf in front of me, fully packed, 2 rows deep, like books in my closet, on my dresser, on my nightstand, everywhere. Okay, everywhere. I don't have room. So now I'm being a little bit more picky with like the books that I am physically buying, and mainly I started reading more ebooks as well. I tend to read faster when it's an ebook, and it's just easier to carry my Kindle around when I go to work or when I go on vacation, and etc, etc. Nobody needed that explanation. The point is it's been a long time since I did a book haul. I did visit some bookstores like on the way, so I will talk about those bookstores as I talk about the books. It's gonna be like a mosh posh video. Flying to New York. We have visited New York before because we have family that lives in New York. My dad's side of the family lives in New York, so we kind of stayed with them for a couple days, and then we packed in the activities in New York because it's very rare that we get to be tourists. Saw the Statue of Liberty for the very first time, which was kind of crazy. It kind of looked fake like when you see it in person, because I had been to New York, but I've always seen it like from a distance. To the Empire State Building, we went to the 9/11 Museum, we took a bike ride in Central Park, we saw a Broadway show, we saw Wicked, which was awesome because it was the very first Broadway show that the kids had ever seen, and my sister was so into it and it was such a joy. My goodness, how could I forget? On my actual birthday, my parents took me to the New York Library, which is really cool to see like the actual lions, statues like in front of the New York Library. We got to go inside. Did anyone like not realize that the like New York Library did not have books? It was more like a showcase, and the actual library with books was like across the street. No idea. Had no idea. And there we got some coffee, we walked around, it was so fun, and my parents sang happy birthday to me in front of the New York Library with a Dunkin's donut and like some candles on top. That's how I spent my birthday. A bookstore that really reminded me of Half Price Books. You could trade books, CDs, and movies, and everything was like half priced or $1. This was a really cool bookstore to go to because it had everything, you know, historicals, classics, fiction, CDs, collectible items. It was a really awesome bookstore to go to. Quite a few books that I wanted to get, but I didn't pick up because what I had to keep in mind was I was coming home. Okay, we were flying back home, so the weight of my suitcase mattered, and also I didn't really have a lot of room in my suitcase because we were traveling for 2 weeks. I had all my clothes in there plus any souvenirs that I was picking up, so I kind of had to be a little picky, but it was fun anyways to go into all these different bookstores. I took videos, we got coffee and like desserts and kind of just walked around, and it was a good time. Bookstore, I only picked up one book, and it was this book right here. This is The Heiress by Lindsay Sands, and I picked this up because of the step back. It's like this bright yellow 2-page clinch cover that I just think is so stunning. Like, I could not resist this. One kind of sounds like a little bit of a Marriage of Convenience. Our heroine is looking for a husband for financial gain. Sounds like our hero is a wealthy bachelor. It sounds like there's a bunch of like fortune hunters that have been trying to trap him into marriage, so our hero and our heroine have a little bit of a marriage of convenience. Sounds good to me. I'm excited to read this one. I've never read anything by Lindsay Sands. Next up, we went to another bookstore in New York City, and it was kind of a manga bookstore. This bookstore was so cool. It was 3 stories. It was all manga, which was fun to like look around. I had no idea like what to get from this store because I've never read a manga, so if you read manga and have any recommendations, let me know. I remember when I went to this bookstore, I instantly texted my friend Desiree because I was like, you would love this store. This store is amazing. This store is right up your alley. But I didn't get any manga books because, like I said, I have no idea where to even start. I've never read one before. The story was general fiction, so you had romance and classics and YA. They actually had so many new releases that looked amazing. That bookstore, I ended up getting this book called Out of the Blue by Jason June, and the cover is what drew me in. This is a male romance with a merman. That sounds really cool. I didn't even read this synopsis. I just looked at it and was like, this looks awesome. After New York, we ended up getting in a car and driving up to Philadelphia, where the Declaration of Independence was signed. So this was more of like a history tour. We got to see where the Declaration of Independence was supposedly signed. We got to see Betty Ross's house. We got to do a tour. It was chock full of history, and we're walking so much, and literally like in the midst of us walking, it started pouring down rain on us, and like we didn't have our car around us or anything like that, so we just ended up dancing in the rain, making the best of it, because we were on our way to another bookstore when the rain was pouring down. So we ended up at this bookstore. This was probably the most aesthetically pleasing bookstore that I went to during the entire trip. It was packed with books. 2 stories, every nook and crevice were absolutely packed to the brim of books, and like when you stepped in, it just like the smell, the vibes, it was wonderful. However, the romance section was severely lacking. There really was no romance section. It was one shelf of romance, one shelf of quote-unquote erotica, and I literally died of laughter because in the erotica section they had Twilight, and I was like, okay, cool. Not my type of bookstore for sure. Most of it was like history and nonfiction, but it was fun to go to anyways. The thing I picked up from that bookstore was some bookmarks, some magnetic bookmarks. You can never go wrong with these. I thought it would be fun to have. So many things. It was such a fun road trip. Honestly, I haven't even said like all the stuff we did. We literally packed so much in these 2 weeks, and it was a lot of fun doing this little road trip. So gosh, those were all the bookstores I visited, some of the books I got. I know I didn't really show that many books, but now I'm going to show some of the books that I got for my birthday. Quickly, I bought myself 2 books as like a birthday present to me. The first one is Stolen Air by Sophie Lark. I have been obsessing over Sophie Lark books. I read all her books in ebook, so I don't own any of her physical copies. This is the only one that I own, and I'm going to be seeing her in a signing very soon, so I need to get more so she can sign them. But yeah, I bought this one for me. This one is my favorite of the Brutal Birthright series. It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I love it. What I got is Prince of Dreams by Lisa Kleypas. I got this on eBay, and I got this to complete my Lisa Kleypas collection. This was the only book I was missing. I spent a lot of money on this book, but I'm happy I have it. A couple of books from publishers. These are 4 new historical romance releases that I got from publishers. The first one is A Duke for Diana by Sabrina Jeffries. Big fan of Sabrina Jeffries in general. I own a lot of her books, so I am excited to read this one. Highland Destiny by Hannah Howell. This is the first in the Murray series. I actually think this isn't a new release, but a new cover. I feel like this series has already come out, but she re-released it with this new cover, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken. I don't think I'm mistaken. This is a medieval romance, and I love medieval romances. I just tend to not read a ton of them. I feel like in general, a lot of people tend to recommend and read Regency romances. Like that's the most popular, like Lisa Kleypas and Bridgerton and things like that. But I like medieval romances, and I need to read more. And this is also a Highland romance. Sounds fun. Next one is A Matter of Temptation by Stacy Reid. So many people have been raving about this book and Stacy Reid in general. I think I've only read 1 book by her, so I need to read more for sure. This one is a Western. I don't read many Westerns either, and I need to. This is the, oh, I dropped it. Gunslinger's Guide to Avoiding Matrimony by Michelle McLean. Looks like that. Friend Etsy from Big Read Girl on Instagram, we were talking about polyamorous romances and like menage romances and how much I adore them, and she recommended this series by Samantha Wayland. First book in the series is called Breaking Out, and this is an MMF romance, and super excited to read it because you guys know anything with 2 people I love, I adore, I love, I need in my life. So yeah, very excited to read this. I'm like, the author and I share the same name. It's already a bonus point, right? And Avery got me a Talia Hibbert book. This is Get a Life, Chloe Brown. I'm surprised you guys that I've never read this book. I've read Talia Hibbert books, like some of her older backlists and some of her Christmas novellas, but I've never read this series, and I know it's so popular, but now I own the book and now I can get to it. I know I'm super late, but sometimes that happens with really popular books. I just put it on the back burner for like whatever reason. But the weird thing is I know I love Talia Hibbert. Like some of her books that I've read from her are my absolute favorites. So thank you, Avery, for getting me this book. From Crystal Bookish Life gifted me A Caribbean Heiress in Paris by Adriana Herrera. Adriana Herrera is another author that I really do enjoy her books. So many people have actually read this book and told me that they think I will love it. Like so many people have personally recommended it to me. So yeah, I'm really excited. Wait a second, does this take place in Santo Domingo? Does this take place in the Dominican Republic? No, it says Paris. Oh, she's Dominican and she goes to Paris. Listen, I'm Dominican. Anytime I read about a Dominican heroine, I love it, okay? Jessica and Spencer both got me a book from Tessa Bailey. It's called My Killer Vacation. This is a cozy mystery romance. I've been talking about this book a lot recently and how I wanted to read it. So I did get 2 copies, but that's totally fine because my coworker actually wanted to read one. So I'm going to share, and then I have one for me. This book that I have to show you is a gift that I got from Brie. This is Desired by the Phantom by Jennifer Deschanel. If you guys know anything about me, Phantom of the Opera is like my favorite thing ever. And this is a Phantom of the Opera retelling. Historic romance. Like, does it get any better than that? Does it get any better than that? Do you guys know of more like Phantom of the Opera retellings? Because I need to read them. Not fan fiction, retellings. Like a full retelling. Not fan fiction, retellings. Because I've already read all the fan fiction out there. Right, I know that wasn't a lot of books and it was more chatting and me showing you the bookstores that I went to, but I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. It means the world to me. I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!